As someone who grew up in the 60s and 70s and attended Woodstock, college protests, volunteered as director of Community Counseling Center, evac at concerts and festivals and the like, David Corbin still maintains a strong commitment to social change. His venue at this stage of his life is the business community, and that's where he is focusing his energies to making positive change. David's books, keynotes, and trainings are all about systems that foster peace of mind and productivity through personal and professional growth and development. They offer models for identifying values and mission and give procedures and processes for bringing them to life, acting in congruence with them at all times.
So you wrote the book, The Illuminated Brand, Building a Culture that Remains Brand-Centric Even Under Pressure. Talk to me about how you became a writer and why you became a writer, and what was the inspiration and intention of writing this book?
The intention is always to share good ideas, which I believe could support and fortify other beings. Otherwise, I wouldn't write a book. And the concepts that I've been doing in the consulting and speaking and mentoring for the last 41 years, the ideas that work, I want to propagate. And much like if it were my last lecture, if it were the last lecture I ever do, I want to make sure that I drop it down and that you're picking it up. So there are concepts that I've used that have blessed so many and blessed myself in the process. That's why I write books about them, to propagate.
I love the title of your books, Illumination, Illuminated. How did you come with that idea? What was the inspiration for that specific word to be part of the titles of your books?
It's funny, it was sort of through the law of contrast. My baby girl and I were watching on a VHS tape back then, a dancing bear singing, "You've got to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative." And I realized that my most successful clients were not those who eliminated the negative, but rather who had the courage to illuminate the negative and shine the light on the elephant in the room and not sweep it under the rug. And that's sort of the etymology of that book. Now, I must say that it actually started when I was at a little party in 1969 called Woodstock with about 500,000 other kids. And a guy said to me backstage, "Man, like you're either green and growing or ripe and rotting, but you're never standing still." And I was 17 and I was like, what? But getting better all the time, expanding all the time, which is the essence of Six Sigma today and total quality management, and then having the courage to face the shadow, face the area that, well, gosh, I'm not so good at this, and yet my business talks to me and says that needs to be done. Or I'm not so good at parenting in this area, yet I know I need to expand upon that. And then you close the gaps between where you are and where you want to be by illuminating the negative, not eliminating it.
What is your suggestion? Not to control, I don't believe in controlling anything. What are some of the strategies we can use to, let's say, overcome this natural desire to push away negativity?
Yes, and I like what you say. It's not about control, it's about confronting. And so what I teach is, and I learned this from one of my mentors, James Baldwin, and he said, we can't solve everything we face, but we can't solve anything unless we face it. And I take it further and I say, face it, follow it, and fix it. You know, what are we not facing in life? Well, let's follow that. Where's that coming from? What's causing that? What's keeping it alive? Well, what happens if I follow it out into the future, unmitigated? And then I work to fix it, which is to minimize its power or to eliminate its power. Face it, follow it, and fix it. And that's the illuminate model, as in my book, Illuminate, Harnessing the Positive Power of Negative Thinking.
The last phase, fix it, as you call it. Would you say that understanding is part of it? What are the steps when it comes to fixing something that's there, unwanted?
There's quite a few. I can't go into all of them, but I will tell you I developed something called meditation. Meditation, it's a combination of meditation and concentration. You see, in meditation, we're taught, well, when a thought comes to mind, have it move out of your system like a cloud across the sky. And I say, no. In meditation, you write down the issue, the problem, the conundrum, the challenge, whatever, on top of a piece of paper. And then you keep a pen in your hand on that piece of paper. You close your eyes, put yourself in a deep meditative state for about 22 minutes, and dwell upon the question atop the page and allow for the divine to work through you, as you, with you, through your hand, and without opening your eyes, write down what comes through. That's just one of so many techniques I teach in my mentoring.
What is to live our full potential? What is to walk the path of our purpose? What does it feel like? Could you describe that?
Well, it feels like flow, and I know flow isn't necessarily a very clear descriptive term, but you know when you're in flow, when all of a sudden magic happens, coincidences, connections, people, situation, and things which seem to pop up out of nowhere in support of your path. I firmly believe there's 4 parts of you and 4 parts of me, our physical, our intellectual, our emotional, and our spiritual self. And I know that when we keep our intellectual, our emotional, and our physical satiated, then and only then can our spiritual self put her hands on our steering wheel and drive us in the direction of our path.
Leadership. What is true leadership from your perspective?
I would have to say what initially comes to me is, A, there's no such thing as a leader unless there's a follower. So then the question becomes, what does it take for one to have others follow them? And what that takes is, as one of my dear friends says, love is just damn good business. The key to leadership is love. I learned in a wonderful book that one of my dear friends wrote called Extreme Leaders, The Extreme Leader. It's about LEAP, L-E-A-P, love, energy, audacity, and proof. You cultivate love, which generates energy and then inspires audacity, and then you provide proof. So I think it's a combination of those things.